perhaps the craziest person of all was, it's called the PEZ Outlaw, PEZ, right? The PEZ dispensers that we know about.
Right.
This is about this crazy guy named Steve Glue. He lived in Michigan, lives still alive, lives in Michigan. And this all happened maybe 20 plus years ago. Okay. He was, he lived a meager existence for him and his family. Okay. He was a machinist and he, hated the job, but did it every day because that's how he knew how to provide for his family. It also turns out that he's massively OCD. And he identifies this way. And he even said early in the movie, when they were interviewing him, he's like, yeah, I keep this paper towel in my left hand all the time because that sort of helps me function. It's like, wow. Okay. So that's a pretty significant manifestation as far as my non-professional opinion goes of OCD. Well, part of this, he wears 3 pairs of socks all the time, like that kind of thing. But he's always been a schemer and a collector. And so he started by collecting cereal boxes simply because he liked them. And then, because you can go to the store and there's of Captain Crunch, there might be 4 different variations on the box. And he loved those variations, right? So he would collect these, and some of the boxes he would keep intact, but most of them he would just cut out the front of it or whatever and then file it away. And he, OCD massively, created this huge library of all these things. But what that meant was certainly back, 20, 30 years ago, he had all these coupons to send away for the little toys and trinkets that would come in the cereal boxes.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah. So he would send away for these and get piles of them. And then he realized, he said, wait, these things themselves are collector's items. He didn't much care about them, but the only way to get a lot of these toys and trinkets was by sending away from the cereal box. So there was no way, if you wanted one of these things, especially one that had already sort of gone through its production and its release, there was no way to buy them in the store, or, there was no online to buy them from back then. And so there would be these toy conventions that would happen, and he started going to these and selling his toys that he was getting from the cereal boxes and making, a huge profit on this. And this was a great way for him to, enhance his family's income and, financial picture.
Sure.
If you've ever looked in recent years at those cereal boxes, they say limit 1 per household. It says that on there.
Yeah. That's
Steve Glue's fault. They cracked down on him. Yeah. But that killed this, the side hustle that he had doing this.
Right.
So he went to what he thought would be the final of these toy shows because he had some inventory left over. He figured, well, I might as well, sell this and turn it into cash before I can't get any more. And he noticed people were freaked out over the PEZ dispensers, people paying $25, $30 for a PEZ dispenser. And so he started digging in and asking the people, that were selling this stuff, how, what the deal was. And he looks like a crazy person. Big, long beard. Obviously he has his, 3 pairs of socks and his tissue in his paper towel in his left hand. But he definitely has a charm to him. He is very charismatic. And they were willing to talk to him, these people that were, making bank on these PEZ dispensers. And they said,
right.
Oh, yeah, well, if you really want to do it, go to Austria. Because back then, I don't know how it is now, but back then, PEZ worldwide was based in Austria. PEZ USA, however, it was a subsidiary of them, but had a stranglehold on the U.S. market, meaning the president of PEZ USA decided which PEZ dispensers could be sold in the U.S. And he would only sell the ones that he liked, which meant 10% of the PEZ dispensers that were made were available here in the U.S. So this created this demand for the other 90% that you couldn't get here in the U.S. And again, pre-internet, there was no way. So this guy had never really even left his, home state, flies to Austria with like a map.
Well, and it's being able, it's also having that, it's kind of a problem solving mindset, right? That we did a whole episode on recently. It's thinking I could take advantage of this discrepancy or here, what is the opportunity?
What's the opportunity
to fill this need, and how can I do it? And, we a lot of it is being in the right place at the right time, but also taking the initiative. The majority of people will talk about it a long time, their whole life, over a beer or sitting on the couch. Oh, I could have done this, or, that kind of thing. But it's the action that you take that makes all the difference. And if you're in the business of battling these larger companies over trademark and copyright, you really need to get familiar with the thing, at least in the United States, called the doctrine of first sale. And it can save you, because you're talking to somebody who's been far too intimately involved in customs and getting things from various parts of the world into the U.S. And the doctrine of first sale is your friend and can help you tremendously, because once you own the product, there are limits to what the manufacturer or whoever can force you to do or not do with it.
Once you've been able to bring it in and sell it the first time.
Well, even getting it in, there are ways to
interesting,
at least open the dialogue with using the doctrine of first sale to where you can have it. And